It took me a long bloody time to realize that I want to act for the whole of my life. And my face has nothing to do with it.
Today, we're sitting in the week of release. Our trailer is released on a Monday when we have a Friday release. And we all know how hard it is to be visible.
मुझे लगा था मैं तो ऐसे चढ़ लूंगी, ऐसे करूँ, मैं मेरी हालत सबसे ज़्यादा टाइट थी. Welcome to my show, Film Companion. On Film Companion, the show is called Spill the Tea, and I have to say, it's such a joy to see the four of you together. Just equally fabulous and yet so individualistic in your journeys as actors. First things first, I want to put it out there that up until now, Dhak Dhak was associated with the sensuality of Madhuri Dixit. And thank you for giving us a new connotation to the term. We have 4 badass babes on bikes.
I love that.
With big beating hearts.
Yeah, I really like that. Firstly, why is the film called Dhak Dhak?
Because I think the rhythm of the heart has a lot to do with the expression of the movie. And our experience.
And it reflects in the bike. The bike and the person become one.
I was about to get there.
Okay. We're always trying to jump the gun.
Yeah.
No, but as people who've, like, she's ridden for a long time, but I discovered how to ride a bike only recently. And what I realized when we were riding was that it is the harmony and the synchronicity between your heartbeat and the rhythm of the bike that really brings balance and determines the nature of your journey.
Yeah.
And I think it's the perfect analogy for life.
Yeah.
It's also the perfect analogy for the experiences these characters have with each other. You may have noticed this, and given your repertoire of work, I'm sure you know this better than anybody else does, that a story like this has never been told before. Of 4 strangers, women coming together and experiencing a journey.
Yeah.
And the Dhak Dhak also reflects the excitement of the journey.
Yeah.
That's the real thing. The thing that gets your adrenaline going and pushes you to do stuff that you've never thought you'd do before.
Which was also my next question. Why has it taken us this long as an industry to sort of embrace the fact that a film about 4 female actors and their friendship can be celebrated with as much gusto and beating heart as a Dil Chahta Hai, a Rang De Basanti, a Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara?
जिस तेज़ी से सोसाइटी बढ़ती है उस तेज़ी से आप उसका रिफ्लेक्शन सिनेमा में देखेंगे. तो हमारा जो कॉन्वर्जेशन भी है इक्वालिटी को लेके, औरतों को लेके, इवन एक्सेप्टिंग वुमेन एज लीड एक्टर्स इन फिल्म्स, इट्स आता जाता है. जैसे आप बता रहे थे कि पहले 80s से पहले और 80s में बहुत ऐसी फिल्में होती थी और उसके बाद फिर एक ब्रेक आया जब वैसे टाइप की फिल्में ना बनना बंद हो गया. एंड नाउ अगेन वी आर बैक टू दैट वेयर वी आर हैविंग कॉन्वर्जेशंस अबाउट not the typical what people assume what feminists are. और जो लोगों को लगता है वो एक बहुत ही सुपरफिशियल ढांचा होता है. उनको लगता है कि सारी फेमिनिस्ट औरतें मतलब झंडा लेके आगे जाती है, झगड़ती है, they want to fight, they want to abuse, they want to drink, and it's not just that.
And look at us here.
Yeah. And because it's the small battles that we fight ना, कि as simple as that. हमारी फिल्म को ही ले लो, हमें बाइक चलाना है. जब मैं बाइक चला रही थी मेरे घर से बांद्रा में लेके, मुझे 10-50 बार कैट कॉलिंग हुई है. बाजू में से लड़के रेस करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. दे वुड स्टेयर एट मी एंड दे वुड वांट टू शो के ओ माय बाइक इज फास्टर. देयर इज दिस ईगो टसल हैपनिंग फॉर नो अपेरेंट रीजन. आई एम जस्ट राइडिंग अ बाइक. इट शुड बी as simple as that. Such a simple choice. And also for anybody who's ridden, they know it's a sense of empowerment. And you feel so good, you feel free. Like she said, Dhak Dhak, वो जो beat है ना, वो you're in sync with the bike. And
it's meditative.
Yes, it is very meditative. अगर आप drive भी करते हो, आपको पता है कि कभी आप बहुत ज़्यादा tension में you drive and you're like whoop करके एक zone में. So that something as simple as this should not be so difficult. And there are so many things that women would want to do and should be so simple and should be so easy, but it is made like an impossible task or a feat.
I think we should go back to your question, Sneha. I feel it takes serious gumption and also just vision and strength and vulnerability also in a way to respect and want to tell a story like this. So I think there's a lot of fortitude that Taapsee and Pranjal have shown and Ayush has shown in wanting to tell this story. And it's not lost on us what a battle it's been to get us this far.
What do you mean?
It's not easy. These films get made with great difficulty. They don't really get the place that they should get. It's not like, today we're sitting in the week of release. Our trailer has released on a Monday when we have a Friday release. And we all know how hard it is to be visible when there is so much content being released all the time, right? And then to just kind of count on and pray that people watch our trailer, it speaks to them as we believe it will, but to even reach it to them is a challenge. So it's not easy. None of it is easy. And that's why perhaps it's taken so long for us to get here, where we can make a film like this.
One
and
of the other reasons I feel very strongly is that writers have lacked imagination. We had no real writers for a very long time. At least in the 80s and 90s, I saw just plain copies of Hollywood movies being made over and over again and passed off as original. Some of our best known films are literally frame by frame copies. Now, we unfortunately have spent a lot of time being happy to make the same kind of things over and over again. It's recently, with probably the onset of the online world, where people, average Indian people, young people, have gotten a chance to see what's happening elsewhere.
Yeah.
And they've realized, hey, interesting stuff is happening elsewhere. Why is it not there on my
life is
language
so interesting.
screens?
Life is so interesting, and if we just learned to
we are so stereotypical in our
represent
storytelling.
that and know that, and then retell those stories. Like one of the women bikers that Imad shared you a video of, right? 3 days ago.
Yeah. What a woman that is!
Like a hijab wearing biker, and she's from Bangalore.
Oh, the one that you shared.
And there's so many more like that.
Absolutely.
And these are real people. They have real
and there are stories
journeys.
like this in every nook and corner of our country. Again, another issue that I feel is important, which is that there have never been so many educated young Indians before. We are riding a different wave today.
Sure.
And for me, I think that's very hopeful.
Yeah.
That here are the people who are forcing you to think differently, who are forcing writers to come up with stuff that satisfies them.
Yeah, we are 243 million adolescents in India right now. Yeah. So what are the stories we're telling them? Also is going to be determined by the representation women find of themselves, not just in stories, but also as drivers of stories.
Yeah. Right. What was the biggest perk of not having to pander to a male co-star on set?
See, we had to pander to each other.
Yeah, we were pandering to each other.
Yes.
But I think we experienced such freedom and liberation while making this film, whether it was with our characters, the characters that we were playing, or with each other, or with our producers, that when something is so good, you, as human beings, you can still take it for granted, even though you know that in the next experience you may not get it. So I know that each one of us is crazily in love with our characters and each other's.
And in love with the film.
And in love with the film, because we are so aware that it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often, and it doesn't have any of the tropes of commercial cinema. We've all gotten asked, कि romantic angle क्या है? Hero कौन है? All of these things. And in saying कि नहीं है, there's a sense of surprise and shock. But the reality is that नहीं है, क्योंकि ज़रूरी नहीं है. So that's been the most, I think, liberating part. It's not about pandering to anyone. Correct. It's just that we pandered to liberation, which was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been fun to have a couple of interesting male
Men,
parts.
yeah.
Why do we have to look at it
Exactly.
constantly from this perspective?
You don't have to alienate a gender to empower another gender.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not about कि also
but would
all
the other gender be okay to
देखो
support
जिनके
a
साथ
full-
I think younger actors are today. That's the point she made earlier,
Yeah.
and I think it's very valid.
एंड ऑल्सो देखिए जिनके साथ मैंने काम किया है आज तक, चाहे वो राजकुमार राव हो, अमिताभ बच्चन हो, आमिर खान हो, जयदीप अलावत हो, मनोज बाजपेयी हो, दिलजीत हो, all of them have been very very supportive and collaborative co-actors.
Yeah.
So I have not been in a position, so it will be unfair for me to say कि सारे मर्द ऐसे हैं.
No, of course.
क्योंकि
Not at all.
नहीं, बट ये भी बोलना जरूरी है कि ऐसे मर्द भी एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, क्योंकि अगर हम इनको एम्पावर करेंगे और इनको सेलिब्रेट करेंगे तभी जाके लोगों को
More men
realize
will be like them.
हाँ, और वो
God
इम्पोर्टेंट
knows we need that.
and we do need that.
Yeah.
Yes, I come from a time when the men used to be quite different, and they were a bunch of sorry, less said about them the better. But they were really so egotistical and so narrow-minded. I'm so glad that the men today are different.
Yeah.
And you can see it in their performances.
Yeah.
Just look at the performances all these
Oh, yes.
people
The
have
wonderful
given.
people she
Then-
just named. Yeah.
And many more now.
Many more.
Yes, many more.
You know, at the trailer launch, your producer Tapsi said that this is a film about how freedom needs to be owned and not given.
Yeah.
Yes.
Each of you, what is the aspect of freedom that you've had to fight the hardest for in your individualistic journeys?
I think it's the freedom of choice, right? The ability to make your own choices in itself is a privilege. For many like us, I grew up in a home where I wasn't ever stopped from doing what I wanted, but I recognize that not everyone has that. But even the freedom to do a film like Dhak Dhak and devote ourselves so fully to that as against anything else that we may have chosen to do is, I think for me, freedom of choice is kind of up there.
आप मुझे फिर से सवाल पूछेंगे क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा थॉट छूट गया था.
What have you had to fight the hardest for when it comes to freedom?
I think for me it was acceptance of who I am as a person. क्योंकि जब तक आप खुद को बांध के रखते हो ना, वो जब तक आप खुद के burdens को नहीं हटाओगे, खुद उनको shed नहीं करोगे ना, you'll never be able to face the world. When you feel small, when you feel I'm not good enough, when you feel it doesn't. सोसाइटी एक करती है, एक कंडीशनिंग होती है, बट अगर आप वहाँ से ही आ रहे हो, वहीं स्पेस से आ रहे हो, आई थिंक मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा बैटल रहा है कि मैं खुद को ट्रस्ट करना सीखूं, खुद में वो कॉन्फिडेंस पाऊं. क्योंकि अब अगर मैं एक रूम में जाती हूँ, एक कमरे में जाती हूँ, कि 10 लोग भी मुझे जज कर रहे हैं, मुझे लगता है बुरा लगता है उनके लिए. क्योंकि आपके लाइफ में इतनी सारी चीज़ें हो सकती है जहाँ पे आप लोगों की मदद कर सकते हो, कुछ अच्छा कर सकते हो, बट अगर आपको इस चीज़ में ज़्यादा मज़ा आ रहा है, आप किसी और को अटैक करो, तो आई एम सॉरी फॉर यू. But here I am today, and that has been my biggest struggle. And that has been my biggest freedom. That today I can sit here and be okay with people saying whatever they want to say.
Yeah. I think for me, my biggest challenge was discovering that my biggest obstacle was operating from a place of fear. And I feel like it's an inheritance that we have as women. It's intergenerational. It's not even something we are consciously aware of for much of our lives. And it was a very big aha moment for me when I was like, oh my God, so many choices, so much of what I'm doing with myself is coming from a place of fear.
And it hits you more when you have a child, doesn't
Oh, yeah, it does. It really does. And to be able to discover that was the most freeing moment of my life. Because that's when I was able to identify when I was operating and responding to life from a place of love and not a place of fear.
Yeah, it's amazing. Ma'am?
I'm the last in this list, and they've said everything that I've wanted to say, more or less.
Sorry.
So, I mean, these are the
We've been
challenges.
keeping like that a lot,
All
day today.
Exactly. I mean, because really
Yeah,
we are people
resonating.
who have had similar kind of trajectories.
Yes.
I've gone a little earlier, so I've seen another part also.
Yes.
And fear is one of my big challenges also.
One would never imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's
But
perceived fearless, but
that is it. And it is something that you grow up with.
Yeah.
And it is something that even if you are in a liberated kind of family, you end up being stuck with. And you wonder why. Nobody told me to be afraid.
yeah,
Why am I?
yeah.
Nobody
Like-
wanted to judge me. but I'm waiting to be judged.
Yeah.
Nobody told me to be fearful, but I'm constantly fearful. So what is this inside of me?
I think
that
it's common
makes
to
me
all women.
what I am? Why am I spending so much time in this negative space?
Yes.
So that is something that I think all of us have similar stories to tell about that.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, I'm 66 and she's what, a baby or something like that. But in all this distance, this story stays the same.
Yeah.
So we are all fighting. And if there were 5 men sitting here, they'd say the same thing to you.
No, but I feel like there's been a shift.
There's been a shift.
Because I have these conversations with my mother, who I perceive to be one of the most fearless women I've ever met in my life. But she's also felt it.
Of course.
And it's changing now because she's discovering that it's
Well,
so,
she's changing and she's accepting.
yeah, at her age.
Yes, yes.
And
It's never too late to
very
accept that.
interesting. Yeah, and I
never
think
too late
that's
to.
the most important thing.
It's also very empowering.
It
Because
is,
when
it's
you
the
have
most
control,
empowering thing.
Yeah.
where you do not let anybody else affect your emotions, your heart, and your soul, and nobody else can damage you. That's the most empowering thing. And
You know, one of the most beautiful things about Dhak Dhak, which is common to all our characters and the narrative piece and that ties it all in together, is the fact that you can never truly be there for anyone in your life unless you first learn to be there for yourself. And it's not about being selfish, but it's not even self-love. It's just having that awareness of self, you know.
It's also as women that we've normalized glorifying sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And how powerful it is. You can only truly have agency when you have self-actualization and self-discovery. You need to know what makes your heart beat in order to really pursue the full potential of your being.
One of the things that I find women are more susceptible to, one of the problems that women are more susceptible to, is a question of the way you look.
Yeah.
I, of course, had a long journey with
We've
that.
had a very interesting conversation
all
about
of us
it,
have.
actually.
All of us have had to come to terms with the way we look.
Yeah.
And the fact that your body is what
Change
it is, and
this,
your face is
change
what it is.
that.
And if I don't want to, fiddle with it too much, first of all,
Or at
I
all.
don't want to fiddle with it at all. And therefore, I need to learn how to accept what I am. And the most revealing thing to me, and stupid as it seems, considering my mother was who she was the fact that I somehow thought that acting has a shelf life as a woman, that I will act until I'm pretty. And then I'll do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine
Or
that I
young.
thought like that,
Or young.
but I did. I did.
May I remind you that you're a 65-year-old actress on a bike on the poster of
There
the
you
film.
go. So it took me a long bloody time to realize that I want to act for the whole of my life. And my face has nothing to do with it. My skills have something to do with it.
Yes.
So forget the face, work on what I can.
Hell yeah.
So that's it.
women like her कि इनकी वजह से मेरा एक सवाल ही नहीं आता दिमाग में कि मेरा शेल्फ लाइफ होगा, ये मैं सोचती नहीं हूँ.
लेकिन हमको बोला जाता था ना, कितना बोला जाता था. At least when I debuted.
But because you're working and she's working and doing the kind of films that you guys are doing,
I mean, we have become fearless as a result of
Absolutely.
this.
and it's because of your choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I see a Meryl Streep or a Helen Mirren, I feel that, hey, if they
it's
can do
possible.
it, so can I.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that a Wahida Rahman in our country doesn't get the kind of parts that she deserves. What a fabulous woman and what a fabulous actress she is.
Yeah.
All they want to do is give her a little award and stick her in a corner. I mean, really, give her a good role for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Keep the award.
True.
Ma'am, this is a question that I asked your husband as well. I want to
Then don't ask me.
understand. There's a certain intimidation that may come with working with someone like you, and of course intimidation is never going to extract a good performance. So what do you do to ensure that the aura that surrounds you doesn't impact?
Nothing. She just bees.
She just herself.
She just bees.
Which is so,
Which is so
enough.
cool.
I mean, it's not my problem.
You know
what
what?
they're thinking.
Exactly.
What can I do about that? What I can do is not throw my weight around. And I wouldn't throw my weight around in any case.
Yeah.
So that doesn't, whether she is there in front of me or Amitabh Bachchan is there in front of me,
She'll
I'm
be
not
her-
going to throw my way. I'm going to be what I am.
Yeah.
And I
So it
think
doesn't matter.
Rats has this amazing ability to not assume, she doesn't assume senior most actor,
Did
role
you just
mentor.
call her rats?
Yeah.
I love that already.
So that's one thing I can do, and I do regularly. Please don't add that little G or ma'am if you can
Ratna
help
ji?
it. Just call me Ratna. That's my given name. I'm happy, proud to have it.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of young people have been brought up in a way that it becomes awkward for them to call a person much older than them by their first name. So okay, I accept that. So call me what you want, but in your head, don't
Treat
think
me
of me as some fossil who has to be pandered to, right?
Okay.
No, and she's anything but. Oh my dear
Oh
God.
my god.
She's a
She
force
keeps us
to reckon
all
with.
on our toes. She's like, what? Why are you so boring?
Yeah.
I actually wanted to get to that. You guys make the whole like learning to ride a bike and literally ride to the highest motorable pass in the world seem
Now it's the third
So
highest,
easy.
unfortunately, but it's the air is pretty
That just
thin.
sounds sexy,
and
so
the
let me
oxygen levels are still quite
Oh,
low.
yes. The last time I was in Ladakh, which was a week ago, I ended up needing oxygen support. So please tell me about what it takes to make this look so effortless and sexy when I know that it's not.
Action और कट के बीच में.
A very good production team.
A
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
We
An
must
incredible
give credit
team.
where it is due. Excellent production team.
an entire team that works with the single-minded force and dedication that they want to tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing
you
else.
know, Ahmad.
Because otherwise, we know
Oh
when
my
people are just
What a guy!
What a guy!
What a
Ahmad.
guy!
Our production,
Our production, like,
head
Production आदमी
on-
था.
Oh God!
What a
I
guy.
mean, we
He'd
wouldn't
been
have made this
running.
film had guys like Ahmad not been part of that.
because like you're saying, right, you needed oxygen support. Obviously, all of us at different points did, and then you're not supposed to be so physically active in Ladakh for any more than 8 hours.
I couldn't walk and talk at the same time. So I don't know how you guys were doing this.
Acclimatize
No,
होने
we
में
were
something
acclimatized
acclimatized.
along the
We
way.
also helped to be progressively
We were in the
climb.
mountains.
पर हम लोग
Because
ऊपर
we
नीचे
did-
भी काफी जल्द जा रहे थे उसकी वजह से काफी क्रू भी बीमार पड़ा है उनको भी
Oh, yeah.
There was
oxygen
one day when we were filming a very crucial scene when out of a crew strength of almost 300 people. Now this is not a big budget film, but we did have a big crew of 300 people on set that day. On location, we had 120 people because so many people were unwell.
Yeah.
So it wasn't easy to make this movie, not
And
by any.
may I gloat a bit?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Please do.
I was the oldest one on that team,
Yeah, you were.
and I had to take oxygen just once.
Yes.
I did not need to be hospitalized.
And spare us the other details.
And
Yeah. Tell us no more.
everyone else had to have all over the place.
No, but I didn't get oxygen.
Come on,
I had to do.
I didn't
मेरा
get
सबसे
oxygen.
ज्यादा था
Of
मेरी
course you
मेरी
did.
तो हालत खराब हो गई थी मुझे लगा था मैं तो ऐसे चढ़ लूंगी ऐसे करूँ मेरी हालत सबसे ज्यादा टाइट थी हाथ दुखला ऐसे मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा कि मैं हंस रही हूँ मैं रो रही हूँ
Yeah.
क्या शूट हुआ है वो लोग चाहते क्या थे मुझे नहीं पता वो लोग शायद चाहते थे कि मैं हंसूं पर मुझे याद नहीं मैं हंस रही थी रो रही थी
It was
it
hard.
was
to do.
mad
Hard, but so much fun.
So much fun.
So much.
Both
Like,
it.
literally the journey of a lifetime. So,
No, that sounds amazing. And since I'm out of time, I really, like I said at the start, so individualistic in each of your journeys and yet also incredible. Leave me with a little something that the mountains just sort of, I know they have a
I have
way-
to go first because otherwise they'll see what I'm going to say. I have to go first.
She speaks for all of us.
या चलेगा सबके लिए बोल
चलो, मैडम आप ही बोलो.
नहीं इनको बोलना
It's an emotion that you will resonate with because I'm sure you felt it too. But when you're in Ladakh and you're in the lap of the Himalayas, the one thing that you feel is vastness and infiniteness and also a finiteness
And the humility.
and the humility of the mountains.
Yeah.
But I think the most powerful and the most profound experience was riding in the Himalayas, feeling that freedom that we did, and discovering that we may be a speck, but we are limitless.
yeah
Yes.
And we all
people.
have that in us, every one of us.
Something, mountains do something to people.
it does
The
it
kind
changes
of
you
people you meet, even people from the plains that go up to the
Yeah.
mountains. unless they are going from Delhi. Sorry.
Rude.
वो
That's rude.
beer के bottle के साथ और बड़े
Forgive me.
speakers के साथ.
Inevitably, ma'am.
Forgive me, I put my foot in my mouth as
That's
always. But I tell you, something happens to you.
It does.
And you start behaving like a human being and not an idiot most of the time.
Unless you're from Delhi.
It humbles you.
Brutal guy.
It humbles you.
No, let's qualify that a little bit. Unless you're from Delhi and want to go to Manali for shopping.
You know, what do they call them?
Which is
The
been me in
locals?
every
Maggie
summer
tourist.
trip.
Maggie
Maggie
tourist.
Maggie tourist.
So my
There,
friends
that's
who
a
are
good
from
one.
Himachal, they call tourists who come
All
to
loud, disruptive.
धर्मशाला और अदर प्लेस, वो लोग शॉपिंग भी नहीं करेंगे, कुछ करेंगे भी नहीं, दारू की बोतल होगी, मैगी अपना ही होगा, मैगी खाएंगे, मैगी का वो फेंकेंगे और दारू का बोतल फेंकेंगे, मैगी टूरिस्ट. So they are called Maggie tourists.
I'm not talking about them, but otherwise, mountains do something to human
they
beings,
absolutely
and bikes in mountains do something else altogether.
Oh, what a feeling.
What a feeling! It creates communities wherever you go. You know, we saw so many people from Tamil Nadu
Yeah.
and Kerala,
Yeah.
gangs of guys going.
I'll never forget the women cyclists I
Yes,
saw in
so
Ladakh.
many
Remember
women
when we were
riding
riding up to
Khardungla, there was
Khardungla?
one woman coming down. I was like, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I
something
want
else.
that level of fitness.
it's the magic that we are all set to
Witness.
witness this Friday.
Yes.
Thank you for doing what you do, because like you said, you're inspiring generations, each one of you. So thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.